reporting this morning the 76ers have dismissed head coach Doc Rivers. Breaking news for the 76ers. Shannon, this is something you and Skip have already predicted. What's your reaction?
I'm not surprised. Skip, I like Doc. I've never met the man, but I like him. I like how, he understands the game. You can tell he understands the game. He's passionate about the game. And I thought for the most part, players liked him. Clearly, that might not be the case with James Harden. But, Skip, you just can't blow this many leads. I mean, he's been given opportunity. He has a championship, so he understands. He knows what it takes to win a championship, Skip. But this is third straight loss in the conference finals. They lost in 7 games to the Hawks in 21. They lost in 6 games last season. They lost this year in 7 after having a 3-2 lead, Skip. Now he's lost 10 Game 7 losses as a head coach. 10. Has 5 straight Game 7 losses. Skip, that was just too much of a burden or of a hurdle to overcome, given that you have Joel Embiid in his absolute prime, who's won the MVP. James Harden is still playing at an elite level, and you surround him, Tyrese Maxey, guys that can make plays, and have this type of outcome, when you had a 3-2 lead, when you went to Boston to get that 3-2 lead, and to come home and not close it out, and then the fashion in which you lost. Skip, I tweeted, I knew Monty Williams was in trouble, and I say, unfortunately, Doc Rivers was going to lose his job because of his performance on Sunday, and it happened.
I have met Doc Rivers. I've been around him, and I love the man. I would like to play for the man. If I could ever play in that league, that's the guy I would want to play for. But I can't defend the man today.
No.
I tried to make some case the other day. Is there any way they can see their way clear to look at the positives? Because they did win 54 games, which is the most since Allen Iverson's 2001 team that lost to the Lakers in the finals.
Correct.
They were up 2 points in a home game 6 with 5 minutes to go, up 2. And they got outscored 14 to effectively 1. There was a late garbage basket, but it was effectively 14-1 starters versus starters down the stretch of that game.
Yeah. You mean the Game 6 game
yes,
where
game
Jason
6
Tatum went off. Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Game 7. At one point, 8 minutes left in the second quarter, they actually had a chance to go up 10, and James lost the ball and then flagrant fouls Jaylen Brown. Okay. They had some things to be proud of this year, except for the end of the year.
Yes.
And it's yet another blemish. It's the 7th time Doc has lost a 3-2 series lead in a playoff series. You can't defend it, and at some point you just have to say, next.
Yeah.
We got to change the voice. We got to change the scenery. We got to change the culture a little bit that Doc has instituted here. Do I think Doc's going to get another job? I do.
Yeah.
And there's some to be had right now.
Skip, it says, Ash, this is a great stat.
Yeah.
Doc coach teams are 16-33 when they have 3 wins in a 7-game series. So 7-game series, Skip, okay, 3-3.
Can't defend it.
You can't. I mean, you look at Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is 23-11 with a closeout situation. 3 of those losses came quite famously, and we know what happened in those. But you look at Spoelstra, 21-11. Joe Mazzulla, 2-1.
Yep.
Darvin Ham, 2-2. Mike Malone, 6-4. Pop is 33-14.
Okay.
Skip, you can't continuously get in these situations and say, well, Doc's a good coach and the boys and the X and O.
Yep.
Skip, you got to bring it home. You got to be able to deliver. And far too many times, Skip, a 3-1 lead in Cleveland. Excuse me. With the Clippers.
Yep.
He had a 3-1 lead in Orlando. Remember with Tracy McGrady, Orlando against Detroit?
I got it.
I mean,
he's still living off that one championship back in 2008. We're 15 years removed from it. It feels like Aaron Rodgers-esque, right?
Yes.
He's 61 years of age. Again, I don't think he's done.
No, he's going to get a job.
But I do get tired in rooting as I was for the Sixers because I picked them. I get tired of it's a make or miss league. At some point, the coach has to do something to make you make. You know, like change. I don't know. Doc, you played. He was 6 feet. He is 6 feet 4 inches tall.
Yeah.
May not be quite that tall as we speak. But the point is, he was a pretty good player in this league.
Yeah.
So he gets it. He knows it. But when you just fold your arms and sit back in the head coach's chair, it's make or miss, and my guys are missing. They shot 23% from 3 in Game 7 at Boston. They led the league in three-point shooting. It's almost an indictment that they led in 3 and free throw shooting.
Yeah.
And then they go to Boston, and they can't throw it in the in the Bay, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened, Doc? What did you do strategically? At least Joe Mazzulla said, I put Robert Williams in the starting lineup. I'm going to go big.
And that's the thing, Skip. It's a 3-2. But Skip, 3-1. You remember with the Clippers, Skip, the Houston Rockets, he had the Rockets down 3-1.
And he just sits and watches, and they don't call a lot of strategic timeouts, and there's not a lot of fire and brimstone coming out of him.
But see, that's that Phil Jackson.
Yeah,
but Phil had Michael, and he had Kobe and Shaq. Yeah, they could figure it out.
Doc hadn't had that.
No.
He had Paul Pierce and Ray and
they had an unbelievable team. They were a defensive. If I'm not mistaken, Kevin Garnett was the defensive player of the year that year.
He was.
They were a defensive-based basketball team, and they played really well. But it's like you said, make a miss. Nah, they want to see some strategic changes to make sure your guys making it, and the other team is missing it.
Yep. So Josh Harris, now the owner also of the Washington Commanders, he just said, that's enough.
But remember you said yesterday it might be a bad look? Well, that man don't care nobody no look.
Okay. He just said, no, this is how I do this.
Right. I just spent $6 billion on the Commanders. Ain't no telling how much you spent on the... no. Skip, you spend that kind of money, you want results.
You want results.
And then you want them quickly.
I got it.
Understand all your points and agree with them, but I have to say I've interviewed Doc many times. He is one of my favorite interviews in the NBA. I'm sure he will land somewhere. We have not seen the last of him. I'm quite positive of that. All right, guys, what aspect of the Lakers should LeBron be the most concerned by? Let's get back to the current playoffs when we return here on FS1. Average at least 34, 10, and 10 during the second round of the playoffs. His combined points, rebounds, and assists per game during the series, also second most, just behind a gentleman you two just brought up, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Shannon, before Skip jumps in here, is Joker proving to be the best player in basketball right now?
Well, for me, I think it's between him and Giannis, and you're not going to get a whole lot of debate from me if someone says that Giannis is better. But I think right now, given the totality of what we've seen in the postseason, and I know, Skip, I don't know Giannis hurt his back in game one, and maybe he wasn't the same player, but he did miss, 11, 12 free throws in that game in which they lost. They probably would have won had he made some of those free throws. It's the consistency in which he plays with on a nightly basis. And what do you need from Yoke on a nightly basis? Do you need him to facilitate? Because he'll give you 17 assists. Do you need him to score? He'll give you 53 points. Man, we need you on the glass tonight. He'll give you 19 rebounds. So there's not a role offensively that he can't take and dominate. So a lot of guys need to dominate the scoring role. Or you have a guy like a Kevon Looney, Skip, he can only dominate the rebounding role. But if you need an offensive role, he can be your point guard, which he's a 7-foot point guard. He can be your guy that cleans the glass, or he's the guy that can give you 53 points. Skip, look at these numbers. In game 2, he scored 39 points on 57% shooting. In game 3, he scored 30 points on 58% shooting. In game 4, he scored 53 points on 67% shooting, 50% from the three. 29 points in game 5 on 60% shooting. Game 6, 32 points on 72% shooting. So the thing is, Skip, it doesn't matter how many shots he gets, he shoots at such a high level, and then he gets to the free throw line because he's not only is he shooting 50, 60% from the floor, he's shooting 50% from the three. And as you mentioned, he's an 84, 85% free throw shooter. So offensively, he has no weakness in his game. You just got to make him work. When AD gets the ball, you got to make him work, AD. You got to get him in foul trouble, do whatever it takes, but you can't let him rest because he's resting against DeAndre Ayton. So now you get his full arsenal offensively because you let him take a nap on the defensive end. AD can't allow him to do that. So right now, Skip, I say he's the best player given the efficiency in which he plays. And on a nightly basis, Skip, I can count on him. I know he's gonna be. He had the little calf injury towards the end of the season, and I think he missed like 7 or 8 games, Skip. But right now, if I had a vote, I would say Nikola Jokic. Jokic is the best player in the NBA.
Okay. I am not going to give this up. Joel Embiid did win MVP, and he won it for a reason. And even you, as big a Jokic fan and defender as there is, you gave it up with it's about 3 weeks left in the season. You finally said, I give up, I give in, he is the MVP.
Yeah.